Let's find some day trades, swing trades, and option trades. Hello, traders. It is Wednesday, June 24th. We're 3 hours into trading. Very weak price action today by the market. You can see this opening gap lower. We knew we were in trouble when we had these three long red candles closing on their low. Very little overlap. We had a tiny little bounce in here. I cautioned everyone to be very, very careful that this was likely to continue. It did. Now we are in a bearish trend day. So we can expect maybe a little bit of a bounce like we're getting right now. I played this bounce to the upside, had that deep, deep 10P cross right here. We're also down below this trend line that you can draw below the lows. And once we poke below it, I knew that we had a bit of a selling climax taking place. So I bought SPY here. We got a nice little move off of it. I made a dollar on it or 10 S&P points on it. Didn't want to press it too hard because I feel that the price action's so weak today that we could roll over at any time. So I would be looking for a 10P spike right here and for it to top out and start rolling over. Then I'd like to see this upward sloping trend line breach. So we're going to draw that trend line right now. We'll click here. We'll click on that bar right there. There's our upward sloping trend line. So we'll get an alert on that. You can also see how we had this very, very steep decline. So we'll get a little bit of a bounce, then we'll get a drop. I'm not looking for any kind of decent market rally until maybe the last 30 minutes before the close. Even then, I think it's very vulnerable. We're going to be watching this. I think DOCU sets up well for a short here. I'm going to click an alert there. And I've been watching this stock. The reason I say that is you can see, here's what the market's done. Rally, rally, rally. Here's what the stock has done. Sell off, sell off, sell off. And it's testing the prior day's low and the low before that. And if we go to the D1 chart, you can see how the stock has been like a rocket ship. This is the type of stock that's going to be vulnerable to profit taking. You can see how it spiked up early today when the market was relatively flat and then it sold off hard. Now, I was on the wrong side of this trade. This was one of my losers today. So I had a number of long positions that I'm going to show you. They were working out great. But once SPY 306.50 broke, we'll go to that chart. Once we broke below 306.50, that was a support level from last week that had been tested twice. Once we broke below it, we did it very, very quickly. I was scrambling to get out of my longs, and I missed getting out of DOCU. So I did take about a $5.50 loss on that. No problem, because I'm way up for the day. I'm going to show you some of the stocks that I traded from the long side. So right out of the gate this morning, I was long NVAX. That was coming up on our bullish searches. And we're going to go into that, take a look at it. Look at that. We had these long green candles closing on their high. Fantastic relative strength. I'm going to put up the, you can see the SPY breach below that trend line. So you can see it's starting to roll over here. That's the alert that I just set. So I was able to get on this stock early this morning, and I made $2 right out of the gate because I saw the S&P 500 falling, falling, falling very sharply. This stock was closing on its high, that bar right there, and then it had follow through. So I took 2 points out of this move, set my target right away so everybody could see where I entered, and then I had a $2 higher limit on it. Then we get this market pullback and this tiny little bounce in here. I was watching that. I re-entered here, made another $2 on that. Beautiful. So on a $78 stock, I made $4 on it this morning. Then I also was in ZM. Love the price action on ZM. Again, this was coming up on our searches. You could see how the stock pulled all the way back, but it was still right at yesterday's close. And we had this little market bounce forming early this morning. So I got in here, took about a 70-cent gain on it. Could have rode it for a little bit more. Here's one that really popped up that I loved early today in the chat room. And it still looks great. Look at this strength right here. Market down, down, down. Stock is continuing to grind higher. WKHS. I made 70 cents on that this morning. Got back into that trade. Had another winner on it. Can't quite recall how much I made on it, but this has been a really nice mover. Another stock that I was in was TBIO. Really nice, strong stock. I was in it right in here. You could see how the market had fallen. It was able to hold the gap, so I was getting in right here, sold it right in here, and tried to see which PLUG. Oh my God. Almost forgot about one of my best plays of the day, which was INO, which is also a stock that I had shown you yesterday. So PLUG, you could see how it pulled back with this big market pullback, but it was still able to hold the opening gap higher. So I love that. Got in here, was able to make some really nice money on that. Relative strength. That's our edge. That's what we trade. So really nice trade there. INO, my gosh, this stock has been crazy. I've been in and out of this stock a number of different times today. So you could see the opening rally. It pulled back with the market, found support above the opening price. And then as soon as we got this little pop in here, the stock was off to the races. Kept watching it, market selling off, continued to get back in, was able to ride it for another gain. So on INO, I made a 30-cent gain on that. And I think I was in there for another 20-cent gain during the course of the day. So some really nice opportunities. Typically, I'm not going to try and trade against the market, but these stocks were so dang strong. When I see price action like this, where the market is continuing to tick down, I'm going to get in because what's my risk? My risk is that the market continues to go down and that the stock flattens out. And that's okay because it's got such good relative strength that the buyers are lined up. Every time that stock has a tiny little dip, boom, they want to buy it. They want to buy it. Give me everything you got. I want in this stock. Well, that's the type of environment I want to be in because if the market just paused, so we just get a tiny little pause like this, tiny little pause like this, the market just has to stop going down. It doesn't have to go up. It just has to stop going down, even for a bar or two bars, and then whoosh. If you happen to get a market bounce out of it, oh my gosh, it's off to the races. So that's a great risk reward scenario for me. If I see this relative strength, markets getting pummeled and the stock's continuing to grind higher, that tells me buyers want in no matter what. I'll take all the shares you've got. Well, I'm going to ride those coattails. So, like I said, normally I'm going to be trying to trade with the market. I want to have the wind at my back and I want to be short stocks that are leading the charge lower. So in this instance, though, I had 5 or 6 stocks that were just relentlessly moving higher. So for today, I'm going to put you back on. INO is still really strong in here. See, it's had a little bit of a pullback. It's been able to find some support. I would say that this is a level that you'd like to see preserved right in here around that 2350 level, but it looks really good. Yes, on a daily chart, you can see it's gone. This was a stock that I highlighted yesterday. It was my pick of the day yesterday, along with Apple. Well, Apple is getting pounded today with the other tech stocks. So let's take a look at that. You can see how Apple, let's put the 5-minute chart up. You can see how Apple opened unchanged. It tried to push a little bit higher, but then, when you get this, if you bought it yesterday on the close, based on what I was telling you, once it took out the low of the day, you had to be out. You had to be out, especially with this type of heavy market selling. But if you'd have gotten long yesterday, when I told you this was my pick of the day, right about in here, look at the gains you would have had in that through the course of the day. I believe that's at least a $5 gain right in there. So you draw your upward sloping trend line in here. Stock breaches that upward sloping trend line. Take profits. This is a low probability trading environment. I've been telling you that because the market is going sideways. So let's get our bearings and figure out what the heck the market's going to do here. I don't like it. I don't like what I see. I don't like the fact that the market rally has been led by a handful of stocks: Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, Netflix, Apple. Those are the ones that are really fueling this rally. Almost the entire NASDAQ 100 rally can be attributed to those stocks. 50% of the NASDAQ 100 rally can be attributed to those mega cap tech stocks. Amazon, I don't know if I mentioned that one. In any event, very, very narrowly defined market rally is vulnerable to profit taking. It is not a healthy situation. So we get the bounce right in here. We've been giving up gains, filling in that gap the whole week last week. Tried to bounce yesterday, no go. Week closed yesterday. Today, we're right down on that 200-day moving average. If that 200-day moving average fails, we're going to be testing the 100-day moving average. And as I've been telling you, this is our line in the sand. That level absolutely must be preserved. If it is not, then for those of you who have been gnawing at the bit to get short, then you can start to short, because then we have confirmation. We have a downward sloping trend line here. We've got major technical support levels that have been breached. Then we could get another wave of selling. That's what you have to wait for if you're going to buy puts or short this market. So I'm not in that camp just yet, but I do not like what I'm seeing. And the coronavirus is starting to spread across many states. So that's what's got everyone concerned. I'm not as concerned about the spread of the virus because I think the incident rate is still around 6.5%. They're testing they're testing a lot more for it. So that's part of the reason that you're seeing the huge spike in new cases. But what I'm more concerned about is consumption. I think that consumer spending is going to be fairly low because people are not going out on vacations, they're not going out to restaurants and bars, they're not shopping. They're trying to avoid large crowds. That's the prudent thing to do. I'm looking at this strictly from an economic standpoint. It's going to slow down the economic recovery. I know that there's lots of stimulus waiting in the wings. There's a $1 trillion infrastructure bill that's being considered right now. There's an additional $1 trillion in stimulus being considered. They're probably going to extend the unemployment benefits that end in July. They'll probably end up extending that through August. Depends on how quickly the economy recovers and what happens with the coronavirus. So, as I've been saying, we need clarity. During this market rally, we were overextended here. We still had a lot of question marks, a lot of missing puzzle pieces, and we still have them right now. How devastating was the earnings impact in Q2? Well, we're going to find that out in 3 weeks. Now, mega cap tech stocks have probably benefited from the coronavirus, but the vast majority of companies have been hurt, and they've been hurt badly by it. So I think that there's still a lot of question marks right now, and I'll be watching these support levels. So I am not got to be in the market and buy and get long. In fact, tonight I'm going to be recording my weekly swing trading video. This is the first time since the middle of February where we don't have any bullish put spreads on. Excuse me, we do have one bullish put spread on. It's the Walmart trade that I recorded and sent a video out on a few days ago. So let's take a look at Walmart. Let's see what that's doing. Actually, it might have been from last week. You can see Walmart's holding up very nicely. That's why we picked it. It is down for the day, but we're going to go into that daily chart. And here you can see this stock has not gone parabolic. That's one of the things that I liked about it. I feel that the tech stocks are overextended. If you draw this downward sloping trend line visually, you can see how the upside's been breached, and you can see how it's testing the 100-day moving average. We've also got the 200-day moving average to lend support. We also have 117 support. So we sold the 117 puts. We bought the 116 puts. We did that with a July 2nd expiration. We took in a 15-cent credit. I like this trade. We've still got to get through a week and a half. I think we're going to be able to do that. Walmart, if the coronavirus continues to spread, is going to benefit. That's why we had this huge spike in Walmart right here. They did really well during the coronavirus. People still have to eat. They still have to buy clothes. They're doing it at Walmart. Walmart's online sales were also good. And we've got 1, 2, 3 levels of support below before we get down to 117. And even when the market did sell off in March, you can see that this stock initially dropped, but it rallied right back up. So I like that trade. I think that's a nice bullish put spread. We're going to be looking for others as well. We're going to try and keep it within a 3-week window. Now that we've got this market pullback, we should actually have some pretty decent option premiums. But mind you, middle of February, I could see the warning signs. I didn't like what I was seeing, so we're trying to let our existing bullish put spreads expire, and we weren't putting any new ones on. We've been in kind of the same mode right now. We've been waiting for a market pullback. We've been placing those out of the money bullish put spreads at prices that would require a market pullback. They would require a pullback in the stock in order for us to get filled. And even then, we were below major technical support levels to increase our probability of success. I still like that strategy right now. I still think the market's going to muddle around and wait for all of this information to play out, wait for some clarity. So, as long as we've preserved these major technical support levels, I think that we can continue to sell out of the money bullish put spreads. If we poke right back down in here, somewhere below the 300 level, I think some of the stocks I really like are going to become more attractive, and we'll be looking to sell some spreads tonight. So I'm not gloom and doom here, but I don't like the fact that the market has been so focused on just a handful of stocks rallying. So let's see what happens. Let's go in and take a look and see what we can find for today. Now, I've given you some really nice longs to take a look at. So for today, I'm going to highlight INO again because it's still strong. So let's take a look at that chart one more time here, and let's see what it's doing. And we'll go into that 5-minute chart on the S&P. And there you can see downward sloping trend line right there. We're through that. You need to have this upward sloping trend line right here breached before you can consider any shorts. You can see how the 10P indicator is starting to spike, but it still has a little bit more room that it can go. So once it comes up and rolls over and breaches this upward sloping trend line, you'll have another opportunity to get short. I think that we will have some more selling and no rally until very, very late in the day, maybe the last half hour. But on a big drop like that, tomorrow you are not going to see any decent rally on the open until the downside is tested. What do I mean by that? Let's say that we close on the low today, we close on that 200-day moving average. Typically, on these huge, massive sell-offs, you're going to have an opening gap higher the next day, which would be Thursday. That opening gap higher, you have to watch very, very closely because I feel that there will be a gap reversal and you'll see selling and you'll see that gap fill. We will not rally until the downside has been tested and the bid has been confirmed because asset managers, they see the selling right now. They're not overly anxious to buy stocks at these valuations when they've seen a heavy day of selling right in here and when the last week of trading has been very weak. They're going to be passive as can be. Now, once that bid has been tested and support has been confirmed, then they'll come in and they'll start bidding again. Then they'll be a little bit more aggressive. So if Thursday morning we get an opening gap higher, watch for that possible gap reversal on the open for those of you who are day traders. So stocks that I like today, I like that INO. Look at the strength in here. If there's a market bounce, this is a stock you want to be in. WKHS, let's see if that's still got its strength. Still looks really good. This is another one that still wants to move higher. NVAX, let's take a quick look at that, see if it's still got its mojo. Yes, it does. So there you've got a bullish flag. There's your flagpole. There's your downline, down trend line. There's your rally up through it. Yeah, I think NVAX looks very good too. So those are some stocks that I think you should consider on the long side. I'm going to also take a look at some bearish stocks. I showed you DOCU. Let's see what that's doing right now. It's hanging in there, but not by much. You can see how it's got a little bit of a bounce going right now with the market. There's the S&P. There's the stock is finally bouncing. If it makes a new low of the day, I would consider that as a short. It's run up very, very quickly. We're going to go into relative week 30. Okay, relative week 30. These stocks have been weak over the course of the last 30 minutes. What's the market done in the last 30 minutes? Up. Okay, well, these are the ones that want to go down. So let's take a look and see what we've got. We got Caterpillar. Look at this nice downward sloping trend line right in here. If you were short, you would click that. You would click that. As long as that downward sloping trend line is preserved, you want to stay short that stock. Let's go into the daily chart. You can see the stock is below the 200-day moving average. It's been selling off very steadily while the market's been going sideways. Yes, this is a good short. Probably going to test that 100-day moving average right there. So yeah, I like that short. Let's see if we can find another one. Nothing too exciting there. Backing off of this high. Still has an upward sloping trend line here. So no, I would not want to be short that. PG, testing that 100-day moving average, choppy, no momentum, no thank you. XOM, yeah, this one is, pardon the pun, leaking oil. You can see this downward sloping trend line right here. You can see it below the 100-day moving average. Yeah, that's a pretty decent short. It doesn't move very quickly, but on a bounce like this, you wait for this upward sloping trend line on the SPY to be breached. Wait for this support right here to be breached. As long as you've got that relative weakness, which you do. See right there? See how the stock has been backing off? It wants to go down. Market's been going up. Stock has been going down. That's why it's on this list. That's why it's relatively weak to the market. This baby wants to go down. It just needs a little push from the market, and then it'll probably come down, test the low of the day. That's how we do it. Go into Bear Run, see if we've got some other stocks in here. Bear Run, I don't have anything showing right now, but we just keep checking that list and seeing what's up there. MA looked really weak. PayPal has been such a strong stock. Let's see what's going on with MasterCard and PayPal. A little bit choppy in here. PayPal's been almost parabolic. Look at that. That is a massive rally higher. Now on something like this, for a swing trade, I would not want to short that until I have this upward sloping trend line breached. So you can see it's going to continue to extend higher. And if you are looking at these stocks and you see parabolic stocks, man, do I have a nice one to show you. Adobe. What the heck? Look at this thing. There's your upward sloping channel right there. You can see how the stock is through that upward sloping channel, the upper end of it. Yes, this is a buying climax. It's probably going to roll over. Well, how do you play something like that? Go till cancel alert line. Going to click right there. Can click there. I can click right here on this one. That's your upward sloping trend line. I don't think you can short it until you've breached that upward sloping trend line, but once it's down through it, then it's probably going to come back and check this horizontal resistance, this breakout here, which is now support. Gets through that, it'll probably check the 100-day moving average. So, but very, very strong stock. Not one that I think you want to be short for a long period of time, but if the market starts to fall apart, there are going to be profit takers in names like this. So I'm going to just quick take a look down. The shorts that I prefer would be like a Disney. This is the type of short that I really like. I don't really like shorting parabolic stocks because they've been parabolic for a reason. They're super strong. There's a lot of buying going on in it. This is a better play as far as I'm concerned. You can see how Disney is checking this horizontal support right here. That was the prior high. It gapped above it, so that gap has been filled, and now it's below the 100-day moving average. So yes, I like this stock. You can also see how this upward sloping trend line that came right through here, right there visually, you can see it. It's below that. So I've got a number of things. I've got a horizontal support line that's been breached. I have a 100-day moving average that's been breached. I have an upward sloping trend line that's been breached. I have a downward sloping trend line that's been formed. These are all really good qualities in a short. And the more check boxes you can mark off, the more likely you are to be successful in your trade. So take a quick look, see what else we've got. McDonald's below the 100-day moving average, downward sloping trend line. Nothing too exciting for me there. And it continue to just go down and click on a couple. IBM, relatively weak there, almost a head and shoulder formation there. Neckline here. Yeah, I think we can find better than that. Win is a stock that I looked at that I think presents a good shorting opportunity. So here you can see below the 100-day moving average, all of these stocks are coming up on searches. They're not just random. There are a lot of characteristics and qualities that go into these searches that make them good candidates for shorting. That's what Option Stalker does. So once you have your market bearings, you go in and you use Option Stalker searches and you look for the patterns that I'm showing you right now. Win actually looked like a good short this morning. I showed that to some people in the chat room. They made some decent money on it. There's your horizontal resistance right there. That's horizontal support. Comes into play at the 100-day moving average. Stock checks the 200-day moving average and backs off hard. And now you've got a long red candle. You can see the consistent selling and the relative weakness. So yes, I think Win is exactly the type of short that I would be looking at. So I would avoid some of the really high-flying tech issues. Adobe, I just think there's probably going to be some profit taking in it. DOCU, I think you're going to see some profit taking in it. This would be more of a day trading short position than a swing trading short position. And there's my line right there. So we're waiting for that alert. I'm going to conclude with this. Market is sideways. This is a low probability trading environment. This is a news vacuum. We don't have any economic releases coming out right now. We're about 3 weeks away from earnings season. We're going to see how devastating the impact of the shutdown was to the bottom line. So I think that everyone's just going to take a deep breath and see how the coronavirus spread goes, to see how the states react. I think consumers are going to be slow to open up their wallets. That's going to prolong everything probably into July and August. So that's not a particularly good sign. This is a bear trend day. Don't expect any big rallies until the very close. We're probably going to see the next wave of selling sometime this afternoon, and watch for this upward sloping trend line to be violated. I'll also be watching for this 1OP indicator to roll over. I'd like to see it happen at a higher level, so just going to sit and wait. Once that happens, DOCU, I'll short it for a day trade. I'll probably be looking to short stocks like Win. And I'll also be watching out of the corner of my eye for some of these really strong stocks that I showed you. INO, NVAX, WKHS. Those have a mind of their own. If you like this content, please give it a thumbs up. Hey, by the way, please go and check out my Twitter channel. It's One Options Trading, plural, One Options Trading. And there I'm going to start posting some trades that I do in the chat room during the day. And before the open, I always post my pre-open market comments. That's your roadmap. I specifically speak to swing traders and to day traders, and I give them the plan for the day so that you know how to position yourself. But yes, please go check out my Twitter feed. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on your notifications so that you never miss these videos. I'll always have some great trading ideas in it and also some education for you as well. Thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. I'm Pete Stolzers, and I'm going to keep the trade ideas coming along with lots of education. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and please turn on your notifications so that you never miss another trade. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. I've loaded 2 other videos that I think you're really going to enjoy. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.